Welcome back to Chainsaw Man Reviews, where every week we take a closer look at the newest chapter of Tastuki Fujimoto's masterpiece, Chainsaw Man. This week we are taking a closer look at Chainsaw Man Part 2, Chapter 14, or Chapter 111. There wasn't really much this week in terms of Chainsaw Man news. One thing that happened was that Chainsaw Man has officially passed 20 million copies sold, which is a monstrous milestone. Just a little over a month ago, it reached 16 million copies, so to sell that much in such short of time frame is insane. There's also some news regarding Fujimoto's Twitter account. For those of you who don't know, Tastuki Fujimoto has a Twitter account named Nagayama Koharu. If you're wondering why it's not just named Tastuki Fujimoto, well, that's because it's technically not him running it. Fujimoto pretends to be his little sister who is in the 3rd grade and is a big fan of Chainsaw Man and Fire Punch. Now, I do not know if Fujimoto has a little sister, but either way, it's clearly him behind the account. There are some dead giveaways because unless this is a very old 3rd grader, this account was made back in 2012. And there's also a time where I think he was drunk because he tweeted like 100 times in an hour and admitted to being Fujimoto. I think that after he sobered up, he tweeted something out saying, "Sorry, I let my brother use Twitter for a little bit," or something like that. He usually tweets whatever just kind of pops into his head, or he reacts to the new Chainsaw Man anime episode. The replies are always fun to read, because for some reason people really like to reply with this photo. If you know, you know. Anyways, it turns out with recent changes to Twitter HQ, which at the time of writing, I don't even know if Twitter is still a thing anymore, they actually believed it was a 3rd grader behind the account. So they permanently suspended him, and he had to make a new temporary burner account. In order to prove that he was Chainsaw Man's mangaka, he posted some very early concept for Chainsaw Man characters. One being a very early Aki with more scars than present in the final product. A work in progress of Denji in his devil form that's not quite the final product, but pretty close. And this girl with a pet snake wrapped around her. I'm guessing this was an early concept for Sawatori, the girl who had the contract with the Snake Devil in Part 1. A lot of people were saying that this was Power, but I couldn't find any official confirmation that that was her original design. I don't really know why it would be Power, other than the long hair. Anyways, Fujimoto did end up getting his Twitter account back, and he returned to his old habits, so all's well and ends well. Before I get sidetracked again, let's move on to the recap. Last week's chapter ended the school attack arc, with Yuko escaping and showing up at Mitaka's doorstep that night. She's now permanently a devil, warning Mitaka that if she sees her, she may try and eat her. This chapter picks off right where the last left off, with Mitaka asking Yuko if she wants to eat her. Yuko thinks for a second, trying to fight back some thoughts in her head, before replying, "A little bit." She turns around saying that she just won't look at Mitaka. Yuko explains that she's heading off to try and find an old relative, who's a devil hunter, hoping that maybe they can figure out how to help Yuko. She's just here to say goodbye. Mitaka says that she feels bad, since Yuko did all of this for her, but Yuko admits that all she wanted was to be like Chainsaw Man. She thought that if she was a superhero, then maybe everybody would finally like her. Saying that she was doing it for Mitaka was just an excuse so she could justify killing people. She even admits that when she was first helping Mitaka, she did it just because she wanted a friend so desperately. Yuko says that after she made a contract with the Justice Devil, other people's thoughts overflowed in her head. She legitimately believed that she was doing all of this in the name of justice. It wasn't until there was nobody's mind left to read did she realize what she had done. This is all some incredibly messed up stuff that gives light to Yuko's motives. She wasn't ever evil, she just wanted to be happy. It's pretty obvious that her past left her socially awkward, making it harder to make friends, but an easier target for bullies. Then, in her time of need, she was approached by the Justice Devil. She accepted, hoping to use her newfound power to grant her desires. Unfortunately, when she started to hear everybody else's desires, they pushed her to the point where she is now. Mitaka tries to talk to Yuko, but instinctively, one of her tentacles wraps around Mitaka's neck. Yuko realizes and retracts the tentacle, apologizing. She doesn't know whether she's a human or a devil anymore, that she wanted to say goodbye to Mitaka, her one and only friend before she left. She also says something very interesting. "Don't make a contract with the Justice Devil like I did, Asa. They're at our school. This basically confirms that the devil who revived Yuko was the Justice Devil. It seems that they've been approaching kids like Yuko and the class president with a deep desire for something, before offering them power to fulfill it. For what purpose is unknown, but it's most likely going to have something to do with Denji, or something bigger that we don't know about yet. As Yuko's about to head off, Mitaka tells her to take her shoes, since she's just barefoot, like the time that Yuko had done the same for her. Yuko says that she doesn't need them. Mitaka uses the same line that she did when she gave the same reply to Yuko. If you don't need them, sell them. If they won't sell, you can just throw them away. Yuko says that she can't believe she ever said something that corny. The pair start laughing, remembering good times. But Mitaka can't seem to catch a break. All she can think about is how a bunch of people died, and some of them were by her hands, and she's just standing there, laughing. Yuko puts on the shoes, saying that one day, she'll be back to return them. Mitaka says she'll hold her to it, and Yuko leaves. This was an amazing close to Mitaka and Yuko's relationship. Looking at where Mitaka started at the beginning of part 2 to now is almost night and day. She's a much, much happier person now, thanks to making a friend. Hopefully, she can make more in the future, and they don't have to end like this. Anyways, Yuko is leaping from building to building, making her way to her relatives, before we hear the sound of a chainsaw revving. We get a close-up shot of the one girl who's possessed by the Justice Devil, sound asleep, a shot of Mitaka lying in bed, and a shot of Denji sleeping with Nayuta, and Makima's dogs next to him, and Yuko. Her head has now been decapitated and lying face up on the ground. She says Chainsaw Man, but as if she's not really sure what she's looking at. A few feet away from her is her body being suspended in the air by something that looks like Denji, but is most certainly not Denji. Oh boy, there's a lot to talk about here. I think that this is what Yoshida's organization has been trying to prevent. This is the reason they don't want Denji to act like a superhero or reveal his identity. The thing that just killed Yuko is not Chainsaw Man, but possibly the Chainsaw Man Devil, the representation of humanity's and possibly Devil's fear of Chainsaw Man that has been rebirthed into something very dangerous. This thing has the potential to be the most powerful devil in existence. Think about it. Pochita was so powerful because he wasn't feared by humans, but by devils because of his strange power to erase things. For now, this Chainsaw Man Devil is the embodiment of Denji in his devil form. But if it is able to somehow unlock the strength that Pochita had, it would be unstoppable. I think that this might be one of the major antagonists for the next arc, now that the school attack one is over. One thing I'm confused about though are its motives. Is this devil smart like the ones we've met, or is it some kind of mindless superpowered zombie with only one goal in mind? If it does have a personality, then I think it would be interesting if it had Denji's personality, but just very exaggerated, to show him that his current course of trying to be a superhero is just one of self-destruction. If this is just a mindless zombie, then what is its goal? Devils rarely kill each other without a good reason, and it might be that its entire goal is to kill all devils full stop. This could mean both Mitaka and Nayuta, so it's definitely going to be a formidable opponent. Personally, I'm hoping that this has a personality, because I think a dark Chainsaw Man or a Chainsaw Man Black would be a really cool idea. Well, that's all for the chapter. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.